Hi there. This is a reading for Virgo for the beginning of the year, January 2017. This will be the first reading that I've done for you. And, well, not for me, but for you other Virgos. Please check out my introductory videos and be sure to leave comments or suggestions or tell me what you like, what you don't like, that kind of thing. Other than that, I'll get right into it for Virgos, including me. Okay, so what we have today for Virgos is the current situation is your Queen of Cups here. So this is something that you've probably kind of always been as a Virgo. If you're anything like me, the quintessential type of Virgo, you're very sensitive. You're very in touch with your emotions to the point that you feel them so strongly that some extreme examples of people like this, they have to almost tune out people because they feel emotions so strongly from them, you know. So like somebody that I'm really in love with or something like that, I might get so nervous around them that I would have to just sort of like turn into a zombie for a moment and like not feel anything, just like hold on really tight and have this anxiety inside, you know, because my emotions are so overwhelming at the moment because I'm feeling everything I'm feeling, and then other people involved, and if other people are looking on too, then all of a sudden you know, like being in the middle of an awkward situation sometimes isn't even as strong of a gut-wrenching feeling as being an onlooker to an awkward situation. You know, sometimes when you're sitting there behind it happening, all of a sudden it's like, oh God, I can't believe that. That's awful. You know, you know, Virgos, we can we can be a little too perceptive sometimes, and like it can make us seem weird or antisocial or have like weird traits. But that's where we are. We're in a high sensing environment or situation right now where we're feeling everything very, very fully. You know, at least compared to maybe where we've been in the past or where other people are. And what's influencing us is the world, which represents full God realization, otherwise called like enlightenment or you know, awakening, just whatever you want to call it. But this suggests that you're going through this, or you've gone through this, or somebody who's making a big impact in your life has gone through this. Okay, so it's happened in a really close sphere to you, and it's having an influence on what's going on around you and how things are feeling a little different, maybe in sort of like the way the plot goes, you know, of your life. And what's got you here is the Eight of Coins, which this suggests like really diligent work. You have you've worked really hard and put like a effort and craft into becoming who you are, or you know, maybe adjusting your behavior patterns or your personality traits or developing a skill, you know. This could be, you know, like reading tarot cards. It could be you've put effort into learning that craft, and then that's what got you sort of to where you are right now, with just, you know, attempting to do that, attempting to read tarot cards and empathize with like an unknown face, you know, or something like that. That is a mental exercise in and of itself if you accomplish nothing else, you know. So those types of mental exercises can often awaken additional powers of empathy or strength of thought that you didn't know you even had, you know. So there's always unseen value in these things that society has sort of like cast aside because it doesn't have an immediate economic benefit, or it won't get you money or something like that. then it's seen as having no use. But some of these things have a lot of use. So I like to think that we should be getting a little bit away from that as a culture. But anyway, um, now you're moving ahead into the future. You're going to need to be aware. Along with this full God realization comes a sort of intrinsic detachment or separation from materialism and from the physical world around you and environment, and you may even start feeling um, like you're floating away, like you're like just the world around you is not feeling real anymore. Like the things don't provoke emotion in you, like you remember that they would have at one time. You know, like things are coming in differently with a different sort of perspective now, and it can make you sort of like lose interest in that material world, and it's you know it's pointing you home, so to speak. So it's supposed to be, but you have in your subconscious, in your foundation, you have the lovers, which indicates uh, you have a really your subconscious, right? Like the sum total of who you are is leading you toward a decision that you're going to need to make on that basis. You know, you're going to need to make a really difficult choice as to sort of whether you want to dive back into the world and fill a role there, or and you know get back on board with this materialism thing essentially, or whether you're essentially going to sort of disappear from that sphere, go off on your own, maybe start a new business, working for yourself or like art project. But there's big choices that are being arranged by your subconscious, by your foundation, and specifically like shifts in that. Um, so exciting things. I mean, I think that's exciting. It could also be risky, but you know, sometimes you can only go up. You know, like sometimes you reach a stagnant point where anything happening would really be better than nothing happening. You know, so maybe you're in one of those in your higher mind and your consciousness, grounding thoughts. Um, a Six of Swords indicates that you're thinking about like a difficult transition. So you're maybe about to go on a trip, and you're really not wanting to drive that long, or you know it's going to be a long flight or something like that, or maybe you're just thinking about how how tough it's going to be to sort of change what you need to change in yourself. You know, you've uncovered a couple things that you'd like to you know work on, and it's going to be difficult, and you didn't think it would be so difficult when you first set out on this task. You know, could be. Your advice for the current situation is the Empress. Okay, so now the Empress primarily is telling you to focus on the material dimension in a way that you are receiving input from it. So, like using your senses, feeling, listening, go see music, go outside and feel the cold air, you know, take cold showers, you know, that kind of thing. Do anything that brings you pleasure through the material world. This card also is very related to connecting with your feminine side, femininity. I guess whatever. So work on that a little bit. It's a very it's a necessary part of anybody's life. Okay, anybody's cycle to experience that material pleasure coming in, because it's a you know, in childhood development and things like that, They talk about there's positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, and then there's positive punishment and negative punishment. And it's all about like which direction you're coming at it from, you know. Well, so there's spiritual investment, spiritual uh, uh, reward, and then there's material investment, material reward, you know. And then life has to exist as some sort of a balance between these things, because once people start going down a spiritual path, it's like they want to just leave the world behind completely. It's like all of this is just totally irrelevant. And I don't understand that really, because here's the thing, is that if this is all such an illusion, right? If this is all just intricately designed, mind filled in detail, you know, like just arbitrary. If that's the case, then why does it exist in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, furthermore, once you learn to see through it, why doesn't the illusion just disappear completely? Or why does your ability to manipulate that illusion change? And sort of like the root, it's almost like you're gaining a level. It's like one up, like eating the mushroom in Mario or something. But anyway, so connect, reconnect with the material world. You're floating away. Tether yourself back down a little bit, or maybe not tether yourself back. I'm gonna come back down a little bit and feel the earth. Ground. Um, Spend some time outside, sitting on the ground, something like that. Reconnect with nature. And your current environment is the Four of Wands. Okay, and so the Four of Wands is suggesting that currently maybe you're feeling a little like you're wanting to invest more into art or writing or some personal project or something like that. You're kind of wanting to put more effort in some aspect of your life, and you're feeling a little guilty because you're finding it difficult. You're finding yourself dragging your feet. You're being sluggish about it. You don't want to do it, you know? And what this is saying is that, like, take it easy here, because what you're forgetting is that you've already, way improved your productivity, way improved your life. This realization that you've gone through, this process, has really revved up your engine. You're producing beautiful things all around you. So just take it easy. Don't feel the need. Don't feel obligated. That's the key here. Is don't feel obligated to do these things. Let them flow out of you naturally. And that's the really important message for you Virgos to take. Now in your fears card, you have the Ace of Wands. All right, and now the Ace of Wands is generally a pretty positive thing. It's like a spark of inspiration, a new opportunity. In your fears, it can really mean that there's sort of maybe a fear of not having a direction, of being just sort of lost, going in circles. That can be specific. So I've had times when I had like a fear almost that I was stuck in like purgatory, that maybe I died, and I didn't know whether that was the result of a dream sort of like meshing into reality really well, or maybe a psychedelic that I'd taken at some point or something like that. I don't know what it was, but there have been times when I was really starting to question whether the fabric of the world around me had somehow shifted, sort of without me knowing, But that is something that you run the risk of a little bit more when you run into this sort of spiritual enlightenment thing, you know, like this is where you hear of kids taking LSD and then um, claiming they're God and diving out the window or something like that, you know. And there's a certain need for discipline for you to cultivate a craft or a way to foster your creative ability, your perceptiveness. You know, like you need an avenue for that. Um, Maybe check out politics or something like that. You know, just read some political commentary. Now, I hesitate to recommend that to anyone, but I think that you have the mental fortitude not to get too riled up in it, not to get involved in it, and to just simply think about your thoughts when you read news stories. Think about what you're thinking, you know, and then ask yourself why you're thinking that. Just do that, you know. I mean, it may not be very comfortable to do that at times, but just do it, you know, and it'll ground you. It'll lead you to understand more about your role in the world and your connection to this place, you know. So it can be a good thing. Just don't take it personally. Don't take it too seriously. Just use it as an exercise, a mental exercise to know what or how your thought process is working. You know, that's all you need. For your overall message, you have the Three of Swords. And this is saying that you may, as what's brought this situation on, uh, it could have been a something that kind of hurt your feelings or broke your heart. And through this realization, one of the first things that you forgave was the situation that got you here. You know, that, I mean, obviously, it's one of the first things that you're going to forgive, because you're going to see instantly how this heartbreak or whatever, or however bad you thought it was, all of a sudden it broke you open into a new world. You know, it freed your mind in a way, and so what you thought was betrayal or heartbreak really was one of the best things that ever happened to you. Okay, and that's true. It's just patently true that we learn so much from loss and hurt and you know, betrayal. That's where you really learn things. That's where you know things. Because when you're trusting someone, you're trusting them. You don't know. But when they show you how they are, then you're really getting data. You know, you're really getting something. And so you are still hurting though. And see, this is the thing, is that even though this total God realization makes it very difficult for you to hold grudges and things like that, and you're very, very enlightened, and I know, you're still a human, and you still have feelings, and they were hurt. And so don't forget the need to address that aspect of your life, okay? And that was a great reading. Okay, thank you, Virgos, for watching, and please leave me some comments and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, bye-bye.